It's time. It is in fact time. I've been away for a minute. I know. Sorry. Not sorry. It was a nice break. How's everybody doing? What's up? There's some new faces in here. I don't recognize some of you. All right, kill the music. I don't recognize some of you. What's up, Deadbeat? I do recognize you. Soapy Muffins, thank you for becoming a member. I missed you, bud. Misty was my old name. Welcome back. Welcome back, Misty. So are y'all ready for some DM hotline? Y'all ready to get farmed for content? So today's DM hotline is special. Today, it's player hotline. I expect this to be a complete disaster because I don't know anything about being a player. I'm always a DM. I don't know anything about being a player. What up, Steely? What's up? Forb play? I watched all your content, just work grave, so don't see any of the streams. Well, welcome. It's okay if you gotta, if you watch the VODs, that's cool. I appreciate you watching my content. Curse of the Forever DM, always got to farm for views. Factual. I'm also a Forever DM. Well, listen, we're going to talk to some players today. You know what? While we're talking to players, I think I should subtly hint to each of them to try DMing. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to be subtle. I'm just going to be like, hey, you should try DMing. Okay, bye. You don't think of that? All right. Yo, Steely, hot take. Uh-oh. I'm ready for a hot take. I'm going to say I strongly disagree with the last video. I am of the belief that there's no such thing as over preparing. Preparing will only help. Did you watch the video? Every player should DM. It solves a lot of player problems, like not being able to play. I think over preparing is necessary. You can never be too sure. Dennis, thank you for becoming a member. Did you watch the video? Because I did explain. Or did you just look at the title? Because there was a few people that were like, there was a few people in the comments that were like, hey, I disagree with you. And then they said something about over preparing. And I was like, I don't think you watched the video. I think you just read the title. Thank you for the $10, Gacko. Make them all DM. Hey, Justin, I missed you. What if we prepared the hammer? Oh, God. All right, so I need to get in the... I moved the mouse specifically so I wouldn't do that. End up doing it anyway. All right, so I'm going to chill. DM hotline. There's nobody in the waiting room. Does nobody have any player? We can do DM and player hotline if DMs want to talk to me. I did, but truthfully, I did get distracted for a part of it. How are you? I'm doing all right, Eli. So the caller was concerned about their prep time and that they were focusing too much on small details that weren't going to come up. So I gave them advice on what to focus on when they prepare. All right. New to the live stream? Welcome. Sam's streams are like a tall glass of ice water in a hot desert. Thank you. Do we have nothing? Quick vote. How many uber toxic DMs are going to be called out tonight? That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting a lot of DM complaints. I really don't know how to handle it. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle tonight. All right. Is anybody having trouble getting in, or do we just not have any players that want to? I thought this would. So somebody suggested this. I need to make sure I get mad at them. Are you going to do more player hotlines? Not if we get no people to come in. I'll talk to you, Sam. You can complain about me. Does nobody have any player things? All right, we'll switch it to DM hotline, or we'll just call it a night. Yeah. So we'll do DM and player hotline. I think I told my DM horror story in the Discord once. You can feel free to tell it to us. All right, here we go. Nightwing, you ready? I'm gonna drag you first. You're first up. Player hotline. How can I help you? Nightwing. I've been bamboozled. Is there a text chat or just the waiting room? Just the waiting room. Just hop in the waiting room. I join and recount the tale, but I'm on the bus. I feel you. Hey, Nathan. Welcome back. In before someone joins to complain about Steely to his face. That's what I'm hoping for. It's good content. Hi, I'm homebrewing a Headless Horseman for a one-shot, but I don't know how to start doing it. A Headless Horseman, check Van Richten's. There's something called a Doulahan. Grab the Doulahan. It's literally a Headless Horseman. Just popping in to say hi, and I love the content. Keep it going. Where is Nightwing? So Nightwing is in the voice chat with me. He just hadn't said anything. So I don't know what's going on there. Rip. All right, I'm going to toss you in the waiting room. Nope. Me. There we go. Hello, love your shorts. I'm trying to catch more streams. Sorry, man. Wi-Fi not good, but I've been an avid fan of over-preparing for a long time. Something doesn't get used. Inspiration for later. Yeah, I guess I could have used a different... I guess I could have gone with a different title, like what to focus on when you prepare rather than over preparing. I got to think about on keg while watching. All right, we're switching to DMs because apparently, like, player hotline's a no-go. I didn't think it would. Somebody suggested it, and I was like, sure, I guess we can do it. Or we'll just do both. I don't understand the argument it somehow hinders your improv skills. My experience preparing has only helped me think of things on the spot. All right, Gur. Here we go. Start us off strong, Gur.
Hello?
Hello? Player/DM hotline. How can I help you?
My DM told me that I, in particular, am the reason that he will never allow spell scrolls in his setting.
Never allow spell scrolls. Tell me about it.
Well, I would tell him about the fun things that I would do with the characters that I would be playing, and for his first time DMing, he told me that we weren't allowed to have spell scrolls because I planned on trying to pass around healing spells to the rest of the party. Seeing how I had stumbled upon the most money, so I wanted to use my free time doing that.
And your dungeon master didn't like healing?
He didn't want me to give the rest of the party the healing spells I had as a druid, I guess.
So by the book, you're actually not allowed to use you're not allowed to use scrolls that aren't on your spell list. I don't think anybody actually follows that rule, but your DM could very well. Yeah. By the book, in order to use a spell scroll, the spell needs to be on your spell list. And if it's of a level you can't cast, I think you have to roll or something. I don't use that rule. I homebrew that anybody can use it, but them's the rules. So what's your question?
I was just like, what do I do in the situations? Because I've been playing it out the best that I can, but spell scrolls would be nice to save on spell slots.
Absolutely. Another healing option, if you want to like pass around healing to the party, would just be buy potions. Are potions readily available? 50 gold pieces each.
Or we do try and stock up whenever we are in a town.
Yeah, they're about the same price as a scroll. So.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for your time.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's literally it. I was just told that I'm in particular the reason we're not allowed to have this in the game.
Well, hey, before you go, have you considered DMing?
I am trying to make my own one shot themed around only monsters that hide themselves as inanimate objects.
Are you going to allow scrolls in your game?
Yes.
Excessive amounts of scrolls?
Yes. I was told by one of the people I wanted to be the first one to play test is like you should just call it paranoia. It didn't help that when my buddy showed me the Spelljammer book, I also thought of trying to make the boats into mimics. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Thank you for your time. I'm
Thank
going to go
you.
back to listening.
You have a good one. Believe that won't allow scrolls. Well, Gur, it was nice having you on. I'm sad that we only got like 2 minutes out of that. I can't make a video out of that, buddy. But I appreciate you. All right. Are you answering DM problems today? Yes, I am answering DM problems today because goodness, there are like no players. Sam, let me talk to your beautiful face if you want. Wait, I have an idea. Allow spell scrolls. Where the F do I find the waiting problem? It's at the very bottom. Nobody else seems to be having any issues. Dungeon Master / player hotline. How can I help you?
Hi. I just got a weird situation where one of my player passed. And I had in plan to put his character back before he passed.
He passed what?
Heaven. Yeah.
Oh, your player died?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry to hear
Yeah.
that.
No problem. But I'm to a point where I went through all that, and I was thinking about bringing him back, one of his characters. So my game is set. If you want the settings, so maybe it can help. The way it's done is that they're working as an adventurer guild, and they could make new characters every arcs that we made. He was the kind of player that every arcs wanted to try another character, but one of his character died, and I had in plan before everything happened to bring the character back as one of the resurrection of the god of misfortune. And now that he passed, I feel like it could be a possibility for me to bring him back as a way to be to visualize his passing and going through all that, like for the players and as for us, as for me.
That one's touchy. You knew him personally?
I knew. Yeah.
And the other players did as well?
Yes. They knew him because of me mostly. But we were playing Magic together. We did a couple games of D&D Lancer, name it. He wanted to do role play because he liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
Well, if you want maybe a question to help with the thinking,
go for it.
Is it a good idea for me to do the first thing I wanted to do, which was to bring his whole character that died in an event in the campaign as part of one of the evil, not evil, but like a bad guy, you know.
So you would know, your friends. Oh man, that's tough. So if it was me, I would absolutely love if in the afterlife, my characters were being brought to games, and like that's how I was remembered, as people like playing, like bringing my characters into their world. But your friend, your friend. I don't know what they would like, and also I don't know what your players would like. Like, are they ready to relive that? Like, that's a tough one. The easy answer is no, just don't.
But since he was like, he was the kind of guy that liked to, as I said, bring characters. We did LARP. He tried again before the incident happened. Incident that is medical, by the way. It's not a like a dramatic one. But I feel like the guy would have liked to like I'm pretty sure would have seen the twist and be like, oh, so you did that, okay. But I don't know about now. Like that's the weird way about how I see it now, is that I know it can be not it can be hard for the players, but at the same time it can be like it's a cool twist because the character that he played he sacrificed himself to save the other characters. So that's why it was for the god of misfortune to bring him back, because it's not really for his misfortune that he will bring him back, more than for the player's misfortune of seeing him again.
That is a tough one. As if it was me, I would like it done. I would like it done to me as a player. I would like to kind of like have them back in a game like that. But it's really going to be up to on how you feel, how you think your players will feel about that.
Okay, can I ask a last question about that subject?
Please go ahead.
Should I tell, because I want it to be like a surprise encounter with the said character?
Mm-hmm.
Should I tell them anyway, or should I do it as a surprise?
Oh man, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what's the delay on your stream, but I see your face, and I.
that is a tough one. Should you surprise them? You know what? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. Don't surprise them. So what I would do is ask them. You could be vague if you like. You don't have to be specific on what you plan on doing, but you could ask the player specifically, like, "Hey, would it be cool if we bring our boy? If I bring like his character back, and like for this specific session, would you guys be okay with that?" And I wouldn't be any more. You don't have to be any more specific than that.
And by the answer, by the answer that they gave me, it's either maybe a one-time deal or a like BBG, right?
You said
I'm really sorry. I don't want you to be. I'm fine with every answer you're gonna tell me. It's not that I'm asking the question because I asked my DM that usually does my games, and even him doesn't know the answer properly.
So it's really dependent on your players. It's really going to be dependent on your players. I like if you think that they will enjoy it, and like I said, you can ask them. You don't have to be super specific about what you're planning on doing. Yeah, just ask them if they would be okay with it. Yeah, man, it's like that's a minefield of a question right there.
No,
talk to the players. That's the best answer I have. Talk to the players. Get a feel for how they feel about it, because yeah, get a feel for how they feel about it. That's really the best answer.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go for it.
I was gonna say that you know them and you know your friend. You know what? I'm just gonna say yes. You should bring them in. Yes, you should. I can't imagine a single person would be like, "Nah, keep me out of your games when I'm gone." Couldn't imagine a single person.
What was the process that you had that changed your mind before all that? I just want to understand a little bit.
I was just putting myself like, so I was trying to be a player. I was trying to imagine myself as a player at that table, and then we lose somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was trying to imagine like how I would feel if people were like using my characters in their games. And in both scenarios, I would love it. In both scenarios, if I was a player at that table and like we had somebody pass and it was pretty rough, and then like the DM brought them in heroically, I'd be like, heck yeah, dude, heck yeah.
Okay. I said last question, but with what you just said, would it be okay for me to bring him as a bad guy?
So as a bad guy, why specifically? So why do you want them to be a bad guy?
Okay, so because it was the plan before he died. Can I say that on YouTube? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
good.
All right, so that was the plan. Maybe I would change the plan, to be honest. Maybe a redemption arc.
So maybe bring him, instead of bringing him on the side of the god of misfortune, maybe bring him back from the side of the god of chance / fortune, or stuff like that, like the nemesis of that.
Yeah.
That god.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot. You gave me a lot of advice. I read chat too, but at the same time, thank you, chat, for those that said it's rough. No, we passed through. We're okay. Thank you a lot. And I'll go. Have a great one.
You too, buddy. Coming in hot, chat. Coming in hot with the questions. I was not ready for that. Oof. Ian, what's up, buddy? It is a rough one. Especially if he's the villain. Maybe a redemption arc would be cool, but man, you just gotta be really tricky with that one. How do I make players not kidnap people? They've tried 3 times now. I mean, I just let them. So all of you, like, there's this really fun comment that keeps coming up whenever I do these. Whenever I do these DM hotlines, there's always the DMs that are like, how do I make my players not do this? And I got to tell you, you really have to appreciate when all of your players are on board for one plan, for doing something. I need you DMs to appreciate that. If all of your players are on board for a specific task, I don't care how ridiculous that task is, you need to appreciate the fact that they're all together on this one. Make it work. If they want to kidnap the mayor, and if the entire party has just convinced themselves that the mayor needs to be kidnapped, and you're sitting there like, I've got all this planned out, and they want to kidnap the mayor, that mayor's getting kidnapped. Oh man. Okay. Bonjour from Louisiana. Hey, who dat? I can imagine how awkward and uncomfortable the players would be when the goal is to kill that villain. Yeah, the villain one is the big one. All players agreeing on something is an anomaly. Facts. All right, so those of you that are struggling to get in, the instructions are right there. I don't know how to make I don't know how to make this any more clear. Look, there's the Discord top line, and then you join the waiting room. If you're in the Discord and you can't see any of the channels, it's because you got to read the rules. You got to check the box. I have to put that there to prevent bots from going crazy. Answer my question, please. Eli, if you had just posted your question instead of asking me to answer it, I would have seen it just then. Do that if you want. What is your question? Repost your question. I can't, I don't see it. This is sad. Yes, do that if you want. I don't see your question. People just can't read. Hey, there we go. All right, we got some people. All right, I think I saw he was asking why Eldritch Knight is the best subclass. I don't know about that one. Do you like the auto gnome? I do. I've fallen in love with Tinker Gnomes. I didn't see who got in first. I think Scion did, and then Luke. All right, let's grab Scion. Dungeon Master Hotline. Scion, you are not only muted, but you're deafened. I hope you're listening to the stream. Doesn't seem to be the case. All right, son. I'm gonna put you back in the waiting room until you undeafen. Dungeon Master Hotline. How can I help you?
Oh, hello.
Hey, I like your
So,
enthusiasm.
question is, so basically, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I hear you just fine.
Okay, cool, because I couldn't hear you for a second. But sorry about that. So my question is, so I am a DM and I have ADHD and I have a problem with pacing and stuff. So I'm not good. I either go too fast or too basically not basically going too fast, and I also am doing theater of the mind, and I don't explain stuff well. So how would I go about doing that? Basically, because I have ADHD, so it's a little harder for me to be able to do that, and I'm a newer DM too.
Okay, so you have ADHD, and you
Yeah.
feel like you go too fast
Yeah,
with your descriptions.
yeah.
Okay, so what I would do in that scenario, I'm gonna get the obvious out of the way. Do you have medication that you take?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. What I would do to help with like how you prepare and that issue specifically would be to pre-write your descriptions and then read them from a note card. So
Okay,
if your party is going into a dungeon, I want you to have like a note card ready for each room that you read from, and like you just read the card. You don't that way your mind kind of focuses on the card and your description, and you can make sure that you get all that information out. Don't do bullets. Make it as specific as possible. So you go line by line, word by word, and
Cool.
get your description out. So that'd be one way to do it. Actually, I think that would be the best way. What else? Like, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Descriptions are too fast. Any other issues
and they
that come
don't
up?
describe. Oh, sorry, I didn't do. And they don't describe like enough because I'm new, so it's like in theater of the mind it's a little hard too.
Yeah, theater of the mind can be tricky. If you're worried about not giving detailed enough description, so again beforehand, if you write out your descriptions, you can set a limit, like a word limit, on your descriptions. That way that you make sure you hit your mark. But also, if you struggle with the descriptions, the best advice I can give you for that is use artwork. Pull artwork from video games, like take screenshots from Dark Souls or Warcraft or whatever. Like just snap screenshots of the environment and then use that. Lean on that. That way you're when you give a description that's not enough, they can lean the rest on the artwork.
Cool. Yeah. Well, the next thing I'm going to do is gonna run a pre-written campaign as opposed to just because I thought I could do a homebrew at first, but then it was a little much to do it all at once as a beginner, the end. So then a pre-written it would help with like pacing and stuff, which
Absolutely,
is good.
it would. I strongly recommend adventure modules.
Yeah, I'm thinking of running Call of the Netherdeep.
Ooh. Okay. I'm actually in the middle of one of those.
Nice.
Yeah. As a player,
What?
finally.
As a player, forever DM, you are.
Yep.
But all right, I think that's it. Anything else?
I should ask you the same. I should ask you that. You got any anything else for me?
There's nothing else I have to ask, but anything else you want to add, really?
Let me think. Yeah, I think that about sums it up. Use artwork and pre-write your descriptions, and maybe set a word limit for those descriptions. There's also websites that will give you descriptions that you can read. Like writers will write description. Help me out here, chat. What's the name of the website that like writes descriptions?
Oh, the one that like everybody does sponsorships for?
Yeah.
World Anvil.
No. Wait, what? World Anvil? No, Describe.
that's what I
Chat
thought.
got it. Describe.
Oh, isn't there World Anvil or that's something else?
I've heard of Word Anvil, but I'm not sure what that or
Yeah, that's something else.
World Anvil. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Describe was the one I was trying to think of. That one gives
Yeah.
you like, yeah, try Describe for that. Not
Yeah,
sponsored. Maybe one day.
But yeah, nothing else really.
All right. I hope that helped, buddy. You take it easy.
You too. Bye.
That's campaign making. Bullet points. See, I don't know if bullet points are gonna work or will work for ADHD. You know, what real world myths do you like adopted in D&D? Man came in fast. I like his enthusiasm. There's a DM that talks, or there's a YouTuber that talks about DMing with ADHD. Who? Fixed the mic. Nice. All right, Scion, I'm gonna give you another shot. Dungeon Master / player hotline. Hello. Scion. That was weird. The name of that YouTuber is the ADHDM. It's interesting. I hope they get it fixed. I believe Sleep was in here next. Dungeon Master Hotline, how can I help you?
Hi.
Hey. What's
I'm
up?
a player right now in Icewind Dale game.
Yes, player hotline. What you got for me?
Well, we've been playing for almost a year now, and we're about level 7. We just hit level 7, I believe, last session now.
Okay.
So it's a very slow game so far.
How long did you say it's
And
been?
about a year, maybe a year and 2 months.
Okay. 1 year, level 7, Rime of the Frostmaiden?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my issue with that game right now is that, well, I've got a lot of issues with it. And
boy.
every session I keep finding more and more things to not like about it.
All right. One by one, let's go. Start with the big one. What is the big one that's just unforgivable? It's the worst thing about this game. Hit it.
Well, the two biggest ones, I'd say they're kind of equal in, to me at least. But a little big of the bigger one, I'd say, was probably the DM itself. I find his combat fairly boring. He typically has the same boss fight for every encounter, for every boss, basically. And it gets a little stale, and it feels like
The same boss for every.
not the same boss, but the same boss mechanics and abilities and whatnot. Essentially, basically, reflavored. Sometimes it's a ball of ice with ice methods, I believe, creating a dome of darkness or something. Or sometimes it's just the darkness spell, but it's always darkness, and they always go into darkness, and they always. Anyway, the point is he uses the same mechanics for almost every boss fight, and that's one thing I don't like about it for sure. Also, the DM, the way he describes everything, almost every single hit he describes, and it can really bog down combat. It takes almost 10 minutes to even get to my turn, and I'm fine with waiting for a while. I'm a patient guy, I like to think, but 10 minutes every combat when there's only 4 or 5, maybe 6 creatures is a little. I don't know. To me, it's a little much. And I've tried talking about this with. Well, I actually haven't mentioned the boss fight mechanics. Is that something I've only recently noticed?
Okay.
But the second issue I have brought up with him, and I don't like the players as much. the other people I'm playing with as well. Some of them are really cool. They're fine. There's one person we have in our party who plays D&D mostly like a video game and doesn't take anything seriously. Constantly cracking jokes and sometimes and most of the time in poor taste, if I'm honest. He also just doesn't take anything seriously ever.
Okay.
It's starting to get on my nerves, and he's been like that since the beginning of the session, or since the beginning of the campaign. And I think only recently, because of some other issues I'm noticing, I've really taken annoyance to that.
Okay.
But yeah, is there anything? Do you want to start with that, or do you want to just keep going?
I think that is plenty, because my advice is pretty much going to be, you're done. Cut your losses. So right off the bat, why haven't you left this table?
Well, we've been playing it for a year and 2 months. That's a pretty big commitment.
Okay.
And we did have some.
Are you familiar with the sunk cost fallacy?
Sunk cost fallacy. I have not heard of that. What is that?
That is when you. Oh, man, I don't want to butcher this. So there's this concept called the sunk cost, where it's hard to back away from something the more you invest into it. It's commonly used to describe gamblers in a casino. Like if you go into a casino and you drop $5 and you lose it, it's like, okay, it's easy to walk away from that. When you go into the casino and you drop like an entire paycheck, you feel compelled to stay because you got to make that money back. That's sunk cost fallacy, or that's an example of it.
I imagine this is how not so well how bad relationships feel.
Right. Yeah. That's another really good one. If you're in a relationship with somebody and it goes south, like, all right, you're in a relationship with somebody and you kind of just get tired of them after 6 years, but you don't break up after 10 years because you have this thing where it's like, we've been together for so long. We have like this history. So we'll, stay together just a little bit longer.
They used to be so fun to hang out with, right?
Right. So
maybe it can be like that.
That could be, that could be applied to D&D games as well. Like you just said, you don't like the DM, or at least some aspects of the DM. Some of the players get on your nerves, specifically the one that likes to joke and play the video game. And the first thing you said when I asked, why are you still at this table? You said, because of how long that you've been playing this. That there's no better example of sunk cost than that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So just cut your losses. Just get out of there. Unless there's something else holding you there.
I would like to, keep a good relationship with the party.
Then leave now. Then leave. Like, don't even show up next session. Leave now. Because the longer you wait, you're just multiplying the likelihood that it's gonna end violently.
Right.
Not literally, but like the longer you wait, the more it's gonna brew, and you don't want that to explode. You need to just like, just get away from. If you value that relationship at all, walk away from that table right now. You can't. You can't fix it. You can't fix it. So don't like. Man, I knew player Hotline was going to be hard because like it's like no matter what you no matter what the players ask me, I'm going to say it's really on to the DM. Yeah, just get out of there. If you value those relationships, those friendships, then just hopefully that DM can handle. Like if you're real with them, like I'm just not feeling it anymore. You can be as specific or as vague as you want. You say, yeah, I'm just not feeling this campaign, or I'm just not feeling this game, or I need a break from D&D. Or you could tell them like, nah, I'm just not really a huge fan of your TM style.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll definitely have to do that. Yeah. We are in the middle of the boss fight for one of the boss fights, I should say. The Duergar Fortress. We're just getting to there, and we're just meeting with the Duergar. I forget his name at the moment, but I think
Zardarok Sunblight.
Yeah, that's it. Sounds familiar. You would know, right?
I would, yeah. Extensive. I ran 5 groups through that.
So I think I'll stick around for just a bit, only to finish this boss fight and almost give a good send off to the character I'm playing.
Yeah, and let them know that you plan on leaving. Tell them that this is your last 1 or 2 sessions. Like you want to knock out these and then say goodbye. Now would be the perfect time to tell them like you're planning on leaving, and then do those 2 sessions. And if you tell them what your issues are respectfully, they might have the opportunity to fix it. But, worst case scenario, you just follow through. Like, here's my last 2 sessions. Here's my 2 weeks notice. I'm out of here. Y'all have a good one.
Fair enough. If only it was that easy in relationships.
if only. Well, depending on the relationship, it can be that easy. Anything else for me?
Yeah, I suppose that's it really. Just if I'm not enjoying it, then I think, who was it? Crab saying no D&D is better than bad D&D, something like that.
If you can't find another, surely you could find another table. Surely.
Oh, yeah, I'm not too worried about playing D&D as much. I am DMing something right now, and I do have another game I'm in as well. Unfortunately, it is with the DM. Like,
no,
not as the player. The DM is the player in that game.
Right.
So, so that's why I want to keep a good relationship, mostly. Not only to just be friends with him, but also to not muck up the other game that we're in.
Sure.
So, yeah, I guess that's essentially anything. Is there anything else you got for me?
I think we're good.
All right. Hopefully this was long enough for a video.
I believe so. Yes, we got about 10 minutes. I think we're good. You have a good one, buddy.
All right. Yeah, you too.
Sam feeds off us for content. Subscribe now. This mouse is just all in the way. Kind of want to get Ian in here. I just saw Ian in the chat. All right, do we give Sion another chance? Let's try Roach. Roach has been waiting for a minute. Hey, Sam, long time no chat. It's me, Kitty, with another name. Sorry to keep changing it on you. Welcome back, Kid Boofy Girl Disney. Oh, Ian, you are in here. Ian, you want to debate something? You want to debate D&D is not a video game? I've been looking for somebody to debate me about something. I don't know where No Fun is. All right, Roach, we're doing this. Dungeon Master / Player Hotline. How can I help you? Nope, we lost Roach. Dungeon Master / Player Hotline.
Yo.
What's up, buddy? What you got for me? He left the chat. What are you doing, Roach? He left the chat. Look. Oh yeah, I don't have my screen up. He left. All right, Roach. It was it's good talking to you, buddy. Go find him. He's right there. He just like I don't know. Is this a player-focused DM hotline? Well, it was, but we're doing both because there wasn't a lot of players. I'm finishing up with work. How long are you doing this for? Oh, I wanted to do this for about 2 hours. I wanted to get enough content for the week. So, yeah, about 2 hours. I'll be doing this for another hour, hour and a half. I'm alive still. That's good. Is flying too OP? That's a fun one. DM hotline is new to me. Is it problems or can we get your opinion on things? We can do opinion. That's fine. Whatever you got. Whatever you want to talk about. Okay, I believe Bandicoot. Dungeon Master hotline. Dungeon Master / player hotline. How can I help you?
Oh shit, did you grab me?
I did.
Holy cow. Hey, Sam.
Oh my gosh. Hey.
Oh, hold on. Let me mute one of these. I'm looping.
What's up, Bandicoot? How you doing?
All right. So I got less of a question, more I just kind of want to pick your brain for some ideas.
All right.
You watch AJ, right?
Pickett?
Yeah.
A little bit. Haven't seen any of his newer stuff.
He just dropped a video last night for an undead jester, and it totally inspired me for like a Joker goons style gang of undead with the jester as kind of a head bad guy for it.
Okay.
And I don't know. I just wanted to pick your brain for some ideas. Like, what would you do if you were gonna run like a gang of undead they're actually worried about logistics, right? Like they're actually trying to make some gold, that kind of thing.
Okay, so we've got an undead gang run by zombie Joker.
Basically, yeah.
All right, what do I do with this? So is this for a campaign where you want the party to fight them, or do you want them to be the big bad villain of the entire campaign, or is this a session?
I was thinking about just kind of making them exist in the world, because I like all DMs. I'm working on my own, custom world. So I'm gonna have them exist just kind of in the background, and if they decide they want to have a problem with them, obviously I'll let them pursue that further, and then I'll worry about doing extreme development on them. It was a cool little bit of inspiration. I was curious what you had to think about it.
Okay. So from what you described, and you want them to be an ongoing thing, I would make them a thieves guild. A thieves guild that robs carriages. And I would even go so far as to say, like, they're deeply rooted in the whole. You mentioned logistics. They're like deeply rooted in the whole system. They have allies that are merchants, but you're unsure like who you need to have like thieves can't to know who's who. And they actually like coordinate with other merchants to get the drop, like maybe a rival merchant's like, hey, one of my competitors is about to send a huge shipment lightly guarded to the north on this day.
Oh yeah, some dirty merchants. I see what you're going on there.
There you go. Yeah,
I like that. I like that. Oh, that's kind of gross. You got people working with the undead because it's making them gold, but they don't like it because they're undead.
Yeah.
All right, I dig it.
Hey, wait. All right, so there's an interesting dilemma there. How do they reinforce their numbers?
Well, a lot of the undead normally can just bring dead back, and being a group of cutthroats, I mean, they're going to be killing people at carriages. They're going to be killing people while they're trying to rob. So I would imagine that's where the majority of their reinforcements would be coming from.
It's interesting. So if you go that route, then the people that tipped them off could be threatened by the guild themselves when people start figuring out like, hey, you're the reason that I lost my life.
I really like the idea of kind of like a derelict spooky castle kind of final area as well. Jester's running this nasty gangoon of undead out of an old derelict crypt castle kind of thing.
Could be fun. Yeah, I like that.
All right, man. I won't take any more of your time.
All right, bud. You take it easy. Undead Joker gang. I'm doing a hope assignment. The question brings up a person named Joshua. My mind instantly went, hey. But I'm terrible at talking human words with my human mouth. This is Roach. How do I join after being in the waiting room? I dragged you. Roach, I dragged you over twice. All right, Roach, we're going to try this again. What's up, buddy?
Oh, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Amazing. Okay. You're going to hate this, but
I'm
I'm
going
a
to hate
huge
this.
Knight fan, man. I think they're the best. I don't see why so many people just totally dump on them. I mean, I think they may be the best subclass for sure. I mean, if you just look at their abilities, if you take shield and absorb elements, you're already going to have possibly one of the best fighters that you ever could, just with that alone. You know what I mean?
You said Eldritch Knight?
Yeah, so I guess what I'm saying is what makes them so bad? I mean, you look at them like they can't be disarmed, right? That's amazing. I think they're the only class that can do that. They can cast 2 spells in a turn, right? Because of action surge. So that's pretty crazy. I think that's really underrated. But I also feel like their weapon bond ability is extremely slept on. I mean, they could have a giant's weapon jump into the air with the jump spell and drop it on somebody, right? Or they can summon things. I mean, I guess the thing is with the weapon bond, it's like there's no predetermined notion of like what is a weapon really, right? Like it could be in a massive, 200-foot stone sword, and I guess that's technically a weapon, right?
Okay.
So I guess the question is, why does everyone hate Eldritch Knight so much? What makes them so bad, in your opinion?
Okay. So the thing that I don't like about them, and I haven't really, honestly, I don't think I've run an Eldritch Knight. So I don't necessarily think they're bad. I just think that I just don't really know much about them. I don't like that the school that they have a school restriction, abjuration, evocation. That's kind of lame.
Yeah.
Also,
definitely.
so what? Here's a simple question. What role are you trying to fill? Do you want to hit really hard with the weapon, or do you want to hit really hard with spells? Do you want your spells to be support, or do you want them to do damage? I think the issue with it is that they're trying to do too many things.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. I definitely think if you go into an Eldritch Knight and you think you're going to be doing big damage spells, I think you're looking at the class wrong, like 100%. But I think as far as you take the fighter, right, which is just great no matter what subclass you pick, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get to add the spells on top of it, it just becomes really, really great. I mean, and you're right, you are restricted, but you do get some free ones, right? So you do get
Yeah.
like I think 5 from any magic school. So
Yeah, I think after at a certain point you do get to choose any spell.
I think and then in addition, like you get to attack with a cantrip and then attack as a bonus action. So I don't know. I just feel like they're really, I see everyone as just like taking dumps on the Eldritch Knight, and I'm like, I don't understand why, because they're so great. I mean, it's really hard. I would say this. I'd say it's impossible to have a bad Eldritch Knight, no matter how you build it, really. Because if you take, like I said, if you take shield and absorb elements, you're already going to be super tanky. You're going to get to attack multiple times. You can action surge, cast 2 spells. You can, summon a weapon. You can never be disarmed. And yeah, I just think they're great overall.
Not being disarmed sounds really cool on paper, but I can't even think of a monster off the top of my head that actually disarms, or an ability or anything that actually disarms.
Yeah, you're right. But I think it comes down to maybe it's like, when you're fighting other human type NPCs, right? So, or let's say somebody's trying to steal your weapon or, something like that. But I also think what I guess the main thing for me, the main thing about the Eldritch Knight that is so like open ended is the fact that all you have to do is spend an hour next to some weapon, which it doesn't define, it just says a weapon, right? So I
Mhm.
think that's very open ended. And then you touch it and the bond's done, and then you can summon it to your hand. So like, you could steal, let's say you have some time with I don't know, you're in jail, right? You could steal the jailer's weapon or an NPC's weapon if you had the right setup, or you could, let's say you're going to fight a fire giant, right? If you could successfully sneak, maybe even invisibly, and then spend an hour. Now you've disarmed that enemy, that huge giant's greatsword, for an infinite amount of time. Just with a bonus action, you can disarm them, right? You could run away, drop it, 40 feet away. I mean, you know what I
You
mean?
said it takes an hour.
So it takes an hour the first time,
So if you've
right?
got an
So
hour with the fire giant, you can pretty much already do whatever you want with it, right? If you've got an hour
that's
with
true,
it, it might
right?
already be
That's
dead.
true. Yeah, yeah. But
Um,
let's say like you're invisible, or I guess let's say, yeah, I don't know. I guess I just
go invisible, go up to the fire giants, mess with their weapon for an hour, and then it's yours, and you can summon it away. That seems like that would be an example. I think that's a really good example of what we were just talking about earlier, of like how much effort you just had to go through to disarm. Like we really don't have any good disarm mechanics because like the way you just described that disarm was you had to burn a second level spell. If you're going to burn a second level spell to disarm someone, heat metal, which I realize the fire giant example specifically is not
right,
work,
yeah.
but you get what I'm you get where I'm coming from. So I want to ask you, as the Eldritch Knight expert, and look, I appreciate that you have what's great about everybody not liking something that you love? I'm all about the Ranger and the Beastmaster Ranger. People sleep on that. I think that's one of the strongest classes in the game. Being able to bonus action your pet, always giving advantage to yourself and your other. I can sit here and talk about the Beastmaster. The fact that people sleep on it, I mean, that makes it yours, man. Show them how good it is. Like, if you sit down at the D&D table and you're like Eldritch Knight and everybody's like, ha, man, that sucks. Why? You're gonna be like, I'll show you. That's the fun part.
100%.
But
okay, real quick, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask, what does let's do a 1-for-1 comparison. What does the level 5 Eldritch Knight do that the wizard can't? Besides the disarm.
He could attack twice with a martial weapon.
Okay.
Right. So
Is that better than a third level spell?
No, it's not. But this is what else he can do is what I love about the Eldritch Knight is it's one of the classes, and maybe even the only class that is a solid B tier at literally every role of the party, right? So if you need to be a damage dealer with the Eldritch Knight, you can do it. But with the same build and the same character, you can transition into a frontline tank, right? So I just think, as far as what can it do that a wizard can't, obviously it can't cast fireball, right? It's at level 5, you're not dropping a fireball.
Mm-hmm.
But what you could do is sit back and pepper arrows into somebody and misty step around, or you could be on the front line taking damage with a shield and absorb element spell. You can basically maybe not be the best at any one thing, but you could do all the roles, pretty well. And I think basically what it comes down to is what the Eldritch Knight can do is it can take a beating for sure compared to the wizard.
That is true.
I would not have any problem taking my Eldritch Knight one-on-one just with mobility, defense, and attack, DPS, right? Because let's say Green Flame Blade, like at level 5, pretty good. Maybe not as good as 2 attacks, depends on the weapon, right? Depends on what kind of build you're going for. But I just think, and you know what else? I will say this. It is outdated, and it was a player's handbook class. So I do feel like if Eldritch Knight came out, a year from now, it would obviously be different. But yeah, I think as far as DPS, you may be, beaten by the wizard, but you're definitely going to be a better tank. Are you as good as the barbarian? Probably not, right? But your options are more open, and I think mobility wise, right? You have that option to misty step out, or you have the option to sit there and stop somebody, grapple, right? You can grapple as an Eldritch Knight, which maybe you could do as a wizard because there are builds out there and things that allow you to do that. But I'd say just overall, doesn't matter what race you have. If you pick Eldritch Knight as a subclass, I think you're going to be okay and adaptable to any situation. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's the Eldritch Knight's greatest strength, right? Is the adaptability to be, kind of like the Swiss Army knife of classes, right?
Okay. You've convinced me. I want to try Eldritch Knight now.
this is the question I have for you though, and don't sleep on the weapon bond, right? Because like, let's say you disarm that. This is the part I meant to I left out. So you disarm the fire giant, but because of the falling object rules, you can with a first level jump spell jump up, and now you can drop it on his head and do tons of damage, right? Or you could go and basically be a one man siege weapon, right? Because a ballista is a weapon, right? You can there's so many like the term it just says weapon. It doesn't even have to say you can wield it or anything. There's no restrictions other than it being a weapon. So it's like that particular part of it's I think probably since nobody plays it, nobody's looked at it as being overpowered, but it's extremely overpowered. If somebody casts fly on you and you have a giant fire greatsword off of a fire giant and you just continually drop it on people, you're gonna win a battle no matter what you're fighting, probably most of the time. But my question for you is, in all serious now, what's your actual favorite subclass?
For fighter, probably the Rune Knight. Those runes are just too dang cool. You've kind of sold me on the Eldritch Knight. I want to try it, but the Rune Knight, like the fire shackles, the being able to move. So when something swings at you, you can move. What is the cloud rune where like if something attacks you, you can make them target something else instead? Absolutely incredible. Love the Rune Knight.
Yeah. One last thing, and one last thing that the Eldritch Knight can do at level 5 that the Wizard cannot, and that's cast 2 spells in a turn without the need of a feat or anything else like that.
Valid.
Yeah.
Valid. The Wizard does get haste though.
That is very true. That is one thing about I wish they were more. I wish that the Eldritch Knight had been not a third caster, whatever they are, a fifth caster, whatever they're classified as, and I wish they'd been more like a paladin as far as their like level ups in the spell slots. Because you are right, it's a slow grind. Like you're not getting those third level spells till way way late in the game.
Actually, I got a question for you. Which one do you think does what you described better? Blade Singer? I feel like we need to have like a hotline where we just talk about builds. Which one do you think does what you described better, Blade Singer or Eldritch Knight? Because the more we talk about it, the more I'm thinking Blade Singer might actually like own this.
I think it's the difference for me having played them both, right? The Blade Singer is the sprinter, and the Eldritch Knight is in it for the long run. He is the marathon runner, right? Because of the short rest mechanics and the things that they get on that. I just feel like even without your spell slots, or okay, let's say this: you have a
Hexblade.
Blade Singer, right? Hexblade's pretty good, right? You have a Blade Singer, right? And you're out of Blade songs. Are you gonna feel great about not being proficient in Constitution saving throws and going toe to toe with a monster, right? With melee weapons, or are you gonna sit back and cast Firebolt? And I kind of feel like with the Eldritch Knight, at the worst case scenario, you don't have an action surge. Maybe you can't heal. You're up there, but I would feel confident in putting my Eldritch Knight. I don't know. That's a tough question. I think you're right. You're making a good point because yes, you can do more damage faster with the Blade Singer, but I guess it really depends on the environment you're playing in and how many short rests you have. Like, are you in a dungeon, right? And like, so
Well,
yes, I think
well,
you're right.
I wasn't necessarily talking about damage. It's just the Eldritch or the Blade Singer has access to the entire wizard spell list, and the Eldritch. Did I say Eldritch Knight? The Blade Singer has access to the entire wizard spell. You know what? I would 100% simp for the freaking Eldritch Knight if they didn't have a magic school restrictions. If they just could like pull spells from because it feels like you said they're already like a quarter caster or third caster. And I just hate that magic, the restriction. Like they really don't need that.
Yeah, I think you're right because you don't feel like you're not going to go in as an Eldritch Knight and cast like a big spell and do a bunch of damage. It's definitely more utility, right? Like, which is why I also think they may be better than the Blade Singer. Just the fact that you could dump intelligence and be a great Eldritch Knight still, right? Because you could cast jump or let's say, you know, increase your movement speed by 10 or even if you're just misty stepping, right? And you've already got shield, which neither of those things, even absorb elements, they don't really require a high intelligence to use, right? So there's a lot of spells that you can take that don't require intelligence, and then you've got Constitution saving throw proficiency. I don't know. It's definitely tough. But you're right. Not having access to the full spell list is very, very annoying.
Yeah. Earlier you asked my favorite subclass. It didn't occur to me that were you talking about in general or for fighter?
Yeah, just in general. I always make these posts on like, hey, what's your favorite subclass? Why is it Eldritch Knight? But I just want to know what's your actual favorite subclass?
My actual favorite is Beastmaster. I love pets. I love being able to summon the pet. It doesn't go anywhere. If it dies, you can always bring it back using Tasha's rules. If it dies, you can always come back and always give you advantage. I love pets. I love the warlock and the hunter in Warcraft. Shaman was my favorite, but they get elemental pets kind of. Pets are just cool. You can choose a flying one. You can choose an aquatic one. Pets are my jam. You can ride one if you're a small creature.
Super awesome. Definitely also, yeah, like you said, a very slept on subclass. I think a lot of people discount it, but it is really good.
Yep.
For sure. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you you listening to my rant. Yeah, we'll definitely have to, I've got some really good builds. I'll send them to you at some point so you can try them out and see what you think.
I am playing a fighter on Thursday. I think I'm going to ask my DM if I can change my subclass. I'm going to try the Eldritch Knight. You've convinced me.
Yeah, don't fall in. This is the trap I did the first time I played one. Don't, because you have access to, it wants you to pick evocation spells, right? Like, I think magic missile's great, but don't fall into the trap of thinking like you should cast them. Like, definitely save your spell slots for shield and absorb elements. And I think if you just do those two things off the bat, you'll be a great Eldritch Knight for sure.
All right, noted. You take it easy, bud.
All righty, man. You too.
That was fun. All right, channel rebrand. We're doing character builds. Okay, who was waiting the longest? I believe Tingus. Dungeon Master / Player Hotline. How can I help you?
Oh, is this sorry, I was talking in the waiting room. Is this the stream? Am I on the stream right now?
You are on the stream right now. What you got for me?
Oh, hey. Nice. I've been watching your channel ever since the dragon explanation videos. You make great content, bro.
Thank you.
Have you ever heard of a game called Darkwood? It's a horror survival game. I really like it. I think it's a good game. So I based my D&D campaign off of it.
Okay. Horror survival, you said?
Yeah. I highly recommend playing it. It's good. Anyway, I've run into a problem.
Okay.
I don't have any scary monsters. So I was just wondering, do you know of any books where I might find a plethora of scary monsters just off the top of your head?
Yes, Van Richten's. Have you read Van Richten's yet?
No, sir, I have not.
All right, so there's this book. It's a campaign book are you familiar with Ravenloft?
I've heard of Ravenloft. It's the vampire castle area.
So there's a book called Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. It's a campaign setting, and it's overall, in general, it is a horror setting. And some of the monsters in there are absolutely terrifying. Have you heard of the Bagman?
Yes, I've heard of the Bagman.
Bagman's in there.
I've heard of... Yeah.
There's one in there in particular that I can't remember the name of it. Chat, help me out. It's these dolls that will steal your soul. So there's these dolls with these needles. They look like They look like little porcelain dolls, and they have these needles. Yeah. And if they poke you with the needle, they switch your soul with theirs. So your soul gets trapped in the doll, and they get to run around in your body. Absolutely terrifying.
That's neat. Thank you. I was looking for more of an eldritch mutated horror kind of thing, but I can probably work with some stuff. Thank you very much.
So if you're looking for eldritch horror,
yeah, like H.P. Lovecraft kind of stuff.
So if you're looking for that kind of setting, I would recommend Call of Cthulhu for that.
All right.
I would recommend, I'd recommend trying out Call of Cthulhu. It's a different game system than D&D. It's similar enough. Like it's really not hard to pick. We did it I did a stream one night where we tried it out. It wasn't hard to grasp, but it is built for it is built around like it's called Call of Cthulhu, so you can get a pretty good idea. It's built around like this horror existential threat. It's got a really good madness system that I actually use. I actually use the madness system from Call of Cthulhu in my D&D games. At the very least, you could check out the Call of Cthulhu and pull some inspiration for your D&D games if you're not interested in switching over, but I can tell you the mechanics support what you're looking for. I think the way you described it, I think the mechanics support what you're looking for much better than D&D does.
So Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft and Call of Cthulhu.
Absolutely. Yes. Those two would be what to check out to
Thank you.
continue your horror journey.
Yeah, pretty much I have a level 5 party and it's like 4 people, but I sent this zombie elk towards my paladin and he chopped its head off in one swing. So I was like, crap.
Oh, how could I forget
No.
Grim Hollow?
Oh yeah, Grim Hollow. Yeah, I'm using Grim Hollow monsters right now as well, but one of my players actually read the book Grim Hollow book, so I'm like, crap, he knows everything I'm going to throw at him.
Grim Hollow is fantastic. At the very least, use that artwork from Grim Hollow. Oh, gosh.
Oh yeah, it's great artwork.
I'm actually.
I'm sorry.
You're good. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that I'm actually, when I finish up, so I'm almost done with the monster manual for my shorts. And when I finish the monster manual, I'm going to start doing Grim Hollow monsters in my shorts. I'm going to actually do shorts on Grim Hollow stuff. So be ready for that. Spoilers. Carrionet. Thank you, chat. Carrionet was the name of the Carrionet is the doll that steals your soul.
So if you're ever looking for a game because I know you do stream games, right?
I do.
It's not really like kind of related to D&D, but it's a horror survival game. And it's really good. It's Darkwood, got great atmosphere, great monsters, great what's it called? Music, great everything. I highly recommend playing it. It's great.
I will definitely. Is it on Steam, you said?
Yeah, it's on Steam.
All right, I will look into it.
One of the NPCs is a mutated snail man.
All right. You have my attention. I'll have to check it out. Got anything else for me?
No, sir. You have yourself a great day.
You too, bud. Oh, all right. Leadfoot. I'm not able to connect to the waiting list. So those of you that are stuck, like can't see the waiting list, what I need you to do is check the rule. Read the rules. Also, mods, can you help out these people that are getting stuck? Justin and Nathan. Read the rules, and there should be a way to react. Do that, and it'll unlock the channels for you. All right. Kinsey, I believe I saw you. Oh, you're deafened. Am I grabbing you people that are deafened? Those of you that are deafened. Okay. All right. Yeah, you're listening. Good. Dungeon Master Hotline. How can I help you?
Hello. Can you hear me all right?
I hear you just fine. What's up?
Hi. So I'm a player.
Oh, player hotline. Okay, let's do it.
This isn't necessarily about me. It's about what another player did and how I felt about it, and I'm unsure how to move on.
Okay, Vent, hit me. What'd they do?
Okay. So long story short, we're in this campaign. We encountered a monster with a charm ability. That's basically like a dominate person, so they can issue a command, and the whoever's charmed have to follow. So that player's character got charmed and was given the command, take care of your friends. Now, that's kind of a vague command, and I believe like part of the fun for these kind of effects is to like how do you interpret that. But what this player did was he interpreted as, being hostile to the party, which I can respect. That is a choice. Like you can interpret both ways.
Okay. So you're
It's-
okay with the interpretation?
Yes, that like it's an interpretation, so I have no problem with that. But what
Okay.
he did was he proceeded to spend all of the resources basically casting harmful spells, like he inflict wound one of us, he fireballed the whole party, he twin spelled guiding bolt, and like it was almost a TPK at one point. And when it all and we thankfully we all got away, nobody died. Uh, uh, After that, uh, he also got upset when our characters understandably begin to not trust his character because of what happened. And he also got upset when we say like let's keep keep the adventuring day going and not immediately rest because we all healed up. He say, oh, I've used all of my resources, and I would like a long rest. So like my problem with it is that I can respect the interpretation of the command being harmful towards the party,
Okay.
but I my issue lies in the fact that he basically used everything against the party,
Okay.
and after the fact also being upset that he's now out of resources and we have to keep the adventuring day going.
Interesting. All right. So just to be clear, your problem wasn't that he interpreted the command to kill the party. Your problem was that they didn't hold anything back when they were fighting the party.
My problem is with that, but it's also his attitude afterwards. Like if it was a for role play, I can understand that, but when we like also responded to it that to his actions being like because we have a few character who's like not that trusting, and when the other players acted to not trust him after he essentially almost TPK'd us,
Mm-hmm.
he also got upset and said, "Oh, that was a charm. Like I like what am I supposed to do?" And like since you guys haven't died, like I'm like you you shouldn't mistrust us. And I think that felt weird to me, and I'm not sure how to like. I guess like I'm not sure what to do about it.
Interesting. All right, let's try some empathy then. So let's say you got dominated and
Mm-hmm.
the command was to kill the party.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? What does that look like when it happens to you?
Well, if the command is explicitly kill the party.
Mm-hmm. We already established that you were okay with the interpretation. So
Yes.
we're gonna
I'm okay
eliminate
with the interpretation.
we're gonna eliminate the interpretation from our hypothetical and just say your command is to kill the party.
If my command is to kill the party, what my character will do is pull out a dagger, which he isn't even proficient with, and begin stabbing. It's killing. It's a method of killing. If I were to,
So you wouldn't use any resource. You wouldn't cast a spell or use any of your class features. So what class are you? Let me ask that first.
I'm playing a wizard.
Wizard. You would, so as a wizard, you were given the command to kill the party. You would pull out a dagger. You wouldn't cast spells. You wouldn't even use cantrips.
Because I will use cantrip actually.
Okay.
Because my wizard doesn't have explicitly offensive spells. They're mostly a utility / controller caster. So at most, I will probably drop a hypnotic pattern, but I wouldn't fireball, and I wouldn't use all resources to kill the party. If I'm exclusively given the command kill the party, then that's what I would do. I would spam cantrips and maybe grapple and maybe throw myself in front of the fighter and hit them with a dagger.
Okay.
Because that's what I'm being told to do. And yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes. I guess the other thing that I had issue with it is that it's basically his attitude afterwards, because throughout the whole thing, he was also kind of enjoying himself, kind of. I honestly, I can't say for him, but that's the vibe I got. I might be wrong. Uh, and I also don't like the idea that he got upset at our players and our characters not like trusting him afterwards.
All right, let's take this one at a time.
hmm
What would the command look like for you to use all of your resources? So let's say you do have offensive spells prepared, or you can use them as an example. What would the command have to look like for you to?
If the command is something like kill your friends at all costs necessary,
Okay, so you think
or
that
something like kill your friends with all that you've got.
okay, so you want it to explicit. So you want it to be explicit
Yes.
that they have
And
to use all their resources.
yes. And it's especially, it feels weird to me, especially because the command of the charm was deliberately being very vague. So there is definitely breathing room in there to say, oh, taking care of your friends. It could mean anything. It could mean literally taking care of them, or it can mean taking care of in like a hostile way. But
Okay.
that's why dominate person is like very punctual about it, right? It's like they can do anything that you've said, but you have to like command them exactly.
Are you sure it was dominate and not like suggestion or
It's
gesh?
not a spell. It's a charm effect.
Okay, because
That's
dominate
kind
basically says, "Give me your character sheet. I'm playing this now." Dominate is about as enchantment as you can get. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess that's the way you can play it. But here's the thing though, the DM didn't ask him to hand over his character sheet, so he
Right.
technically still have
I should hope not.
control.
I should hope not. I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like the issue I find with that is that while having full control of his character sheet and have a vague command, he decided to go all out with the party. That's what I'm finding issue with, I guess.
Okay. Did the DM say anything about did the DM comment on this at all?
The DM commented on how he didn't expect the monsters to have such a powerful feature, which I don't think is actually what's happening here. But that's just my opinion. But like, yeah, the DM commented that he didn't know that the monster had like such a powerful feature that could have screwed with us. That's what he said. I can tell that he was uncomfortable during like the aftermath when people are being upset, but he tried his best to like move it along and like try to amend the situation, but like he didn't say anything about set players' actions.
Okay. I understand. PvP is not for everyone. I believe. Now, obviously, I've never played with this DM or with this player, but I believe that the DM well, actually, from what you said, they may not have known what they were getting into. But I'll just say from my own experience, sometimes I will put mechanics into the game for players to have a PvP combat like that. And I wouldn't necessarily get upset if they used all of their resources. As a matter of fact, I feel like it makes the fight more interesting, like being able to see what your character can do against the party. But that's not for everyone. It's clearly not what you were looking for. So the explicitly having to say at all costs, that's fine. That is, I suppose that's a reasonable request. Not trusting the character after I'm assuming the other characters know that they were charmed. Like, we're not talking about players, right? We're talking about in game, the characters no longer trust this player.
Yes.
I think that is unfair. I think that's toxic, in general, because it feels like they are metagaming a punishment for a misinterpretation of. The reason I say it's a metagame misinterpretation is because the command was given and they interpreted it as use all of my abilities. And now the players are like, well, because you did that, now we don't trust you, even though you're not enchanted anymore, or we're assuming you're not enchanted anymore. So that feels like an unnecessary punishment. Or that feel, what's the word? Punitive. Sounds punitive.
I see.
So
we were using the information that our character would otherwise not know to judge him as a player.
Yeah, because that player made a mechanical interpretation by saying, okay, I am now under the effects of this enchantment spell and I need to use all of my resources with that. Like, that was clearly that player's interpretation.
Yes.
And I don't think it's an unreasonable interpretation. That would be a conversation for them. Like, did you really think that you were supposed to use? Did you really think that you were supposed to burn every spell slot into that, or like, could you at least just, you know? But at the same time, I want you to acknowledge the fact that your position is, I think you should have gone easier on it. I think you should have gone easy on us because the enchantment wasn't explicit. So I could definitely see both. Sides of that. So that's something to think about. But I 100% think that it's unfair to continue to punish the player after the fact. That would be a conversation. So my advice for that would be, have a conversation with that player. Like, hey, I didn't like how this was handled. And DM, I did not like how this was handled. And then just end it there out of character. I definitely wouldn't drag it in character, because if you take it in character and now like the party doesn't trust them, at some point it's going to be like, why do I even show up to this? Why do I even want to play in this game? Like, I can't even play my character. Nobody wants to play with me. And it just kind of, alienating them at the very least. So that sounds rough. So
yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah. So just give that some thought. Like, sit on it, maybe have a conversation with them about it. Have you talked? I don't even think I asked that. Have you talked to them about it?
Not yet. I was really unsure about how I should feel about
Okay.
it. So I've refrained from talking about it when I'm like emotionally charged, because I think I am quite kind of biased in the situation because I'm on the receiving end of it.
Absolutely.
I kind of want to make sure I have like a straight mindset before I go into it.
Okay. Yeah. So my advice for when you decide to sit down, cut them some slack. You don't need to, just be open with the fact that, like, hey, I didn't like how you interpreted that, or not even that. I don't like how you decided to burn all of the resources and you kind of brought us down, and I'm having a hard time like recovering, mentally from that. I'm like really frustrated about how that went.
The silver lining in this story is that when my character almost died, he did roll a nat 20 to get on the death save and got back and had a pretty good role playing moment. So if there's a silver lining, that's it.
Absolutely.
Well,
and nobody died, so that's fortunate.
Well, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
That's all I have.
Yeah, have a good one, bud.
You too.
PvP is not for everyone, chat. Should druids be able to transform into owlbears? Obviously. No fun popped in here. Need me to come in with the steel chair? Blaming someone for not stopping when the brake lines are cut. Good mechanic for corrupting machinery, magical machinery. You're not necessarily evil, but you're definitely going to mess with your buddies. I would say the mistrust could be a good narrative tool. That sounds like that trust. Okay, so listen, that mistrust sounds like it was seeded out of game and it was bleeding into the game. It could be a good narrative tool, but I don't think it's going to work in that scenario. Okay. Hey, what's up, Chris Cooper? Who are we going to grab? Like, I got a lot of names in here. Do we give Scion another shot? I've seen Mart in there for a minute. Mart, are you ready? Got any advice? Lucas, get in there right now. I want to talk to you about your thing. Lucas, if you figure out how to get in the waiting room, you're next. Lucas messaged me earlier, so I wanted to. I messaged their question earlier, and all right, let's grab Mart. Dungeon Master Hotline. How can I help you?
Give me a second.
All right.
Okay. I was just muting the stream. So, first of all, love your content.
Thank you.
And the thing is that I'm a player, by the way.
Okay.
I'm usually
Player
a
Hotline.
support kind of guy, playing clerics and bards. But now I'm playing a sorcerer with a homebrew subclass. And the DM loved my backstory so much that he decided I'm gonna be the final boss, so to speak. The thing is, I don't know how to go about this. I've never even touched PvP, and now I'm supposed to face, once we reach level 18, I'm supposed to face the entire party. And I have no idea on how to do this both mechanically and narratively.
So the DM said that they want you to be the last boss, and you're not sure how to do this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm afraid I'll go overboard if I try to, for example, one-shot someone, or maybe I'll just throw a couple hurting words at the players and they'll think it's personal or something. I don't know, it's my first time in this kind of situation, and I don't know how to proceed.
I would ask the DM what they want out of the combat, and then maybe ask the DM for something to help with the combat. So maybe legendary actions, temporary magic items.
About that. He said I'm gonna be like 2 levels ahead of the party. I will be able to pick maybe a legendary boon with his approval, of course, and I'll get legendary actions. He also recommended a couple feats, mostly to make me tankier, like the tough feat. But I know I'm thinking, oh, I should just go full damage and try to make it as hard as possible so it feels rewarding, or maybe I should like let them feel cool, defeating me in cool ways. I'm lost.
Do you want to fight the party?
Yeah, of course, it makes sense by the characters' backstories are all fitting for that.
No.
I'm playing a reborn, so I used to be a pretty bad guy before, and as you know, reborns lack memories. But every time I use the knowledge from a past life mechanic, the DM rolls to see if I permanently remember something. And so, as the campaign goes on, I'm gonna go back to being a villain, and that's the point. I fight the party.
So what I meant was, do you want to be the one? So would you be okay with the DM playing your character, or do you want to be the one controlling the character?
I wanna play my character. That's for sure.
All right.
And the DM wanted me to actually play the character.
Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I think that pretty much that sums it up. Like you want to. So yeah. So your concerns are. It'll be too challenging or not challenging enough?
I either go all out or fall short.
Well,
I mean, it's been the it's. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be the boss of a long-running campaign, so I'm gonna be up to the task.
well, fortunately, you should have a pretty good idea of what the party is capable of. What I would do if you want to be, I mean, if you want to go, if you want to do it right, you want to be proper. Your character basically knows what your party's capable of and can come up with. You said it was a sorcerer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just have a plan for how you're going to deal with, when the fighter runs up to you. Are you going to fly away? Are you going to misty step? Are you going to banish them into oblivion? Yeah, just have a plan for everyone.
All right, so more like just looking to one-shot them with raw numbers and spells. Just make countermeasures, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really hold anything back. I mean, they're certainly not.
That's right. Okay, so countermeasures. That's sounds like Batman fighting the Justice League. Anyway, thanks.
Yeah, chat says be Batman. Have your plans to counter every member. Yeah, you're basically Batman developing your plans for the Justice League. So yeah, run with that.
Thanks, chat. Anyway, thanks and keep up the good work.
Thanks, bud. You take it easy.
See ya.
All right. Where are you? Lucas, which one are you? Give them hell. Contingency plans, have minions. Play hotline. Player hotline, how can I help you? What's up, Ender? We've had 2 PvP questions so far. You're Johnny Snowbang? All right, here we go. This is a good one. Dungeon Master / Player Hotline, how can I help you? Lucas. No, fix your mic. All right, we'll give them a second. Is your character smart enough to develop countermeasures? That's a good question. I don't like role playing my stats. I keep my stats and my role play separate. Oh, does not give me the option for email. Ender. All right. Lucas, what's going on? Lucas, do I drag you in here again? We try this again? Mother effing engagement comment, dog. Thanks, streamer. Thanks for the engagement. All right. I guess I will try someone else. Clerical's been in there for a minute. Wait, his mic is live and waiting. Lucas?
Yeah.
Hey, what you got for me?
So here's the thing. I think my DM is burning out. So we have a weekly game that's been going. Me and him, super good friends. But lately I've started to notice that his characters are getting his NPCs are getting real disaffected, real standoffish. Paths to success are kind of limited, and he's getting real railroady. So I think he might be burning out. I have a campaign set up that we can go. So I just want to know, what advice would you have about talking to him, potentially about, hey, it's not that you're doing a bad job or that you're unappreciated, because can't have a game without the DM. But you might want to take a step back before you start thinking the game is like work.
Okay, so my advice would be, I mean, you pretty much sounds like you've got it. Like just the way that you've talked about, like your concern, your willingness to open it up about it. It sounds like you're good. It sounds like you have you have the social skills necessary, I'll say, to approach this and say, is everything all right? Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, just like this is a close friend of yours. Like you've known each other for a while.
Yeah, best friend, best man at his wedding, all that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So yeah, you know when something's up, and it may not be D&D related. It may be real life related. It could be job, relationships, finances. Could be D&D. Could be like stuck on a boss in a video game. Like you just don't know. So definitely, so talk to them about it. Like you're already going to talk to them about it. So you just want advice on like how to talk to them about it.
Yeah, like the main thing I want to get across is like, and this is kind of where I come into an issue, because I want to tell them we're not having fun at the table. Like I'm playing a bard right now, eloquence. I roll ridiculous high persuasion deception. I rolled a 25 on something, and he's like, nah, he doesn't seem very receptive. And I go, not even to talking. So it's kind of in like a mix between I want what's best for him in terms of him loving the game in the long term, but I also want to let him know this isn't fun.
Okay. The main thing that I want you to focus on when you do talk to them is that something has changed. And I don't want you to necessarily focus on the fact that something has, or I don't want you to try to figure out what's changed. I just want you to address the fact with this DM that something's changed. And I want you to leave it open to the possibility that maybe the change is on your end. Maybe your wants and needs have changed. Just be open to the idea. That may not necessarily be the case, but when you talk to the DM, I want you to say that, start by asking, like, be concerned, ask them what's up, and then kind of lead into the game is changing, and I'm up, I don't like it, or I don't like the direction that the game has been going lately, and be sympathetic. Or
yeah, I think it's a little hard for him because we just came back from a TPK besides my character because I was off sick that day.
Uh-huh.
So I think having him already being kind of burnt out and trying to incorporate more characters and everything and try to get them back in, I think that really maybe put a nail in his coffin.
Yeah. So yeah, talk to them. Talk to them about that. Make sure you focus on the changes, or make sure you focus on what has changed since. How long has this been going on, roughly? Give me an idea.
As far as him having,
yeah, when do you think the burnout started? Was there like one event?
Honestly,
it's been gradual.
It's been gradual because like the last 4 or 5 sessions we play every other week. So the last 4 or 5 sessions have kind of been like, pulling at the threads a player would normally play at, and there's nothing there. And I think it agitates him, and I think that kind of worsens it. Just as it's been going, I think it's just been progressively getting a little worse.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough conversation, no matter how you approach it. Just I mean, y'all are close friends, so you know him better than most. What was the other thing I was going to say? Also, focus on what you liked from before that you don't like now. So another option would be, rather than talking about the things that have changed that you don't like. Talk about the things that have changed that you miss. You're like, oh man, I really liked it back when we used to do X, and you fill in the blank, kind of thing. That would
Right.
that could be another good way to approach it.
Yeah, and I think bringing that up and kind of maybe segueing it into, are you okay? Like, do you not have the time, or you just not want to think about stuff like that anymore for a little while?
Are they a player in any D&D games? Do they like playing?
See, that's the thing. Like, they do like playing, but they've been DMing at least 1 or 2 games a week for the past like 2 years.
Okay. I was going to say, do you notice anything with the other games that they play in? Like, or is it just, do you notice anything with the other games that you, that they play in? Like, are they doing the same thing? Are the same issues popping up in the other game that they're running from that you've noticed? Or
I'm not sure. I'm not part of those other games.
Unsure. Okay. Are you in a game with them that they play?
No, he's just DMing right now.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough conversation. You need to be prepared for that conversation as well, because you have no idea what's gonna come up. It could be something serious.
Yeah. And like I said, the main thing I want to do is not to say, hey, I'm not having fun, this is stupid. I want to say, hey, I really think this might be taking more of a toll on you than you think, and I don't think I think you might want to take a step back, maybe play a little.
That could be one way. That could be one way to do it. Have you tried DMing?
Yeah. We're going to be doing a campaign soon, a Spelljammer campaign.
Nice.
So should be fun, but like we're only halfway through the campaign we're on now. So.
Wait, are you going to be running that DM?
Yeah, I'm going to be DMing the Spelljammer campaign.
No, when you DM, is your current DM going to be playing in it?
Yes.
There we go. Okay, cool. That'll be a really good indicator. Like if they're you'll be able to tell the burnout if that mood carries over as a player. You'll be able to tell then for sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping getting him into a player role will maybe take some of the pressure off him. He can enjoy the game a little more.
There are some people, speaking from experience, that prefer DMing to playing, and playing is actually, like, being a player is actually more stressful than being the DM. Sometimes.
Yeah, I know a couple people like that, but yeah, after a couple of years, I think you might. Yeah, always good to take a step back.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your perspective.
I wish you the best with your friends.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll go fine.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you kindly.
Have a good one, bud.
You too.
Who could that be? 100%. Yeah, I do not get as much enjoyment out of being a player in a D&D game. I do get some enjoyment, but a lot of the time, most of my enjoyment comes from DMing. It is more work for sure. It's a lot easier to chill as a player than it is as a DM. Sam, you should apply to be a therapist. Jokes aside, I really hope the DM in this situation is okay. Yeah, me too. DM burnout happens, and sometimes you try to push through. Oh man, you know what? If you're still in here, Lucas, there's one more thing I want to say to you, and that's it is as a friend and as a player, it is not your responsibility to manage their emotions. It is, totally forgot to mention that. DM burnout is that's on them. That is their responsibility. You can try to help, but ultimately that's an internal struggle. Where was I? DM's also a player, and if they are not having fun, they shouldn't punish themselves. Facts. My own experience, my friends are cool with it. Be a campaign. What do you think is better practice? Wait, what do you think is better as a practice for getting someone used to D&D? Having them start at level 1 and figuring out how to play from there, or having them start at a high level character? Level 1. I mean, that's not even a question. That's not even a question. The only difference between level 1 and then the higher level, think of any, like, there's not a single game in existence that starts you off at higher levels and then like takes away your mechanics. Every game starts you off small and then you build. You build. Even in school, like you start with adding and then you move up to multiplication. You should always start with the smallest and then build off of that. What happens? Yo, what happening with your life? Steel? What about my life? What about my life? My life's fine. You seen Mr. X new PDF for armor, my guy? New on the stream, welcome. I have not seen the PDF. All right, I need to get somebody else in here. We got a lot of people waiting. Let's see. Quite a few of you. Clerical, I'm gonna drag you in here because I've seen you in there you've been in there for a minute. Dungeon Master Hotline, how can I assist you? Clerical. Oh wait, Clerical left. All right, Clerical, I'm gonna try again. DM Hotline.
Hello.
Hey, there we go.
Hello.
What you got for me?
No, I just wanted to ask. I'm playing a campaign that I know a friend of mine has been planning for a long, long time, and I know I just want to make it the best experience for him as I can as a player. And something I just want to ask is that how would you advise, like, as a player who knows the game and plays quite a lot, how can I help other players that maybe aren't as comfortable at role playing or maybe don't know the game as well, bring them along with me and just like make them more comfortable with role playing and know the game better, but not feel like I'm holding their hand.
So the simplest way would be to just set up scenarios where they get to shine. There's a lot of different ways to do that. In role play, you can just ask somebody's opinion on something or give someone the opportunity to make a decision. When you have a group of, like 4 or 5 people, all it takes is one person to look to another person and say, hey, what should we do? And a lot of the times that line alone will be enough to kind of keep everybody, because it's such a small party that line alone will be enough to make everybody's attention on whoever you're talking to, and then they get to make a decision. That could be a good way to, put them in that, if they want to be in that, and they want to be in that position. In combat, there's simple mechanics that you could use, like the help action or spells like haste that you can apply, that you can put on them to improve what they're already doing. Advantage, ways to give them advantage, like the help action I just said. Plenty of spells, things like that. What did you have? What did you have in mind?
No, it was just that it was very clear to me from the first few sessions I had with these guys that they've obviously gone away and spent ages coming up with like secrets and their plans, and they've done session zeros on their own with the DM, and I just want to make sure that they get their moments to shine when they're putting their time in. And I don't know, it's just I've always been a very mechanical person, and I know the rest of the group also is. So letting them see that more roleplay side and experience it.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like you got it Sounds like you got it worked out. What class are you playing? Are you playing a class that makes, because there's some classes that are just easier to do this with than others.
Twilight Cleric Tiefling.
You're set. Twilight Cleric's perfect.
I just want to buff people and keep them alive, and that is my prerogative.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
That was really my only query. That's really it. I did also want to say though, when I was listening to you and Roach talk about Eldritch Knight, I do have a story about an Eldritch Knight, if that helps reinforce your desire to play them.
Please.
First time I ever got to play in like a full campaign, it was Curse of Strahd, and I won't go into obviously details about it, but Eldritch Knight, the new guy came in, played a Hobgoblin Eldritch Knight. I think we got to level 10, and unfortunately they passed, and then they were raised, and our DM put just that Eldritch Knight, just level 10 Eldritch Knight, +2 spear, and I don't think anything else. Maybe it's at a half plate against level 10 monk with a belt giant strength, and then like a druid, a sorcerer, and a wizard. And they were a boss tougher than most other bosses we went against in that entire adventure.
I've got to check out this because I gotta check out the Eldritch Knight. So I need to get on that. I think my DM might be in the chat right now. I'm gonna message them and be like, hey, I'm switching to Eldritch Knight because I'm currently playing a changeling champion fighter.
Ooh, very nice. No, but especially with like spears and stuff like that. Having that returning thing, like me and the sorcerer, druid and sorcerer in the back, and just being able to, I can deal with the monk in combat, but also use one of my attacks to deal with them and knock out concentration. And then because they have spells, use hold person on the monk so that, now you're in melee, but you don't have as much health as me. And that's going to, obviously that's much more player versus player, but it's a wonderful subclass, and I'd highly recommend it.
All right, I'm sold. Chat, y'all did it. We'll play an Eldritch Knight. Did you have anything else for me about?
No, that's all my questions. Just wanted to thanks for all the great videos, especially all the Icewind Dale videos. I'm running a game on it, and those videos have been the most helpful thing in the world. Just planning for each section. So thanks so much, man.
You know what? Now, before you go, I get I get so many more views from the shorts, but I get so much more positive feedback for the module guides, and I enjoy making the module guides. So I'm like, some of you may have noticed, this is like, I'm mainly talking to you and chat, but some of you may have noticed that I started uploading the Radiant Citadel guides. I want to put more focus on those guides. I really enjoyed making them, and like, I got so much positive feedback for that. I hear about Frostbane like at least once a week. Somebody's like, "Man, Frostbane is cool." And I enjoyed it.
Invaluable to like people like me, because I have such trouble just sitting down and reading a book. So, not saying that it's a substitute for it, and obviously a DM should always sit down and read through the book, but just being able to like on a drive, listen to like, okay, these are the things I have to have in mind, or just like different people learn in different ways, and being a more like learning through hearing and things like audiobooks and stuff like that, it's so handy just having like, and especially afterwards giving ideas like for yourself and no fun allowed, just constantly on my drive up to work, I just playing your guys' videos on repeat, be like, okay, these are the things I have to have in mind for this session coming up. It's so handy.
Absolutely. Yeah, no fun's pretty good, I guess. I guess they're all right. I guess his guides are all right. All right, man. You take it easy, and we'll move on to the next one.
All right. Best luck, boy.
Later. All right. I'd like to have my first campaign DM by you. Never played, but really want to get tired. getting something together. Who were y'all talking about? Goober and Chris, who were y'all talking about? Were y'all talking about me earlier? My boy sounds tired. I sound tired. I mean, it is like I've been waking up at 5 every morning, so it does start to hit late in the afternoon. Like I am starting to wind down, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm fine. Improvised weapon. I'm sorry if I sound tired. I'm trying to keep the I'm a funna skedaddle. You take it easy, Edwin. Steely, I have a problem. I have a Wednesday game. Ender, if you don't want to be in the Wednesday game anymore, I understand. It's been fun. If there's anything that I can do to improve your experience, please let me know. All right, let me pull somebody. I mentioned that it's probably been a long night. All right, let's get somebody in here. Who are we getting? Who's been waiting the longest? Death Topic's been there for a bit. How many more we got in me? Like, none of these are long enough for a video. I can't make a video out of a lot of these. Makes me sad. I need content. All right, Desktop. I need content, buddy. Give me a nice long question with tons of stuff in it.
No, yeah, two things if you'd like. First
right.
one is the character concept for the one game that I get to play, and I have a unique situation with a player that flaked out that we had a lot of story going for. So which would you like first?
Let's start with what microphone you're using, because your voice sounds like silk in my ears.
Shure SMB 7. I also have a Rode NT1A.
All right.
I do audiobooks, so
Love it. All right, let's start with the character.
You know that TikTok that's been going around Unholy?
TikTok that's been going around Unholy. Give me more.
It's basically somebody did a teaser for some music, and the D&D TikTok group picked it up. So an individual did kind of like a CG cleric to it, and his eyes were glowing. So it spawned an idea of playing a Circle of the Stars druid, but he's going as a cleric who is serving the concept of a creator, the unmoved mover, the uncaused cause.
No, I have not seen anything on that.
It's a character concept that I was hoping to go for.
All right. Tell me about it.
Well, a lot of the abilities of the Circle of Stars druid, like instead of doing animal shapes, you do this starry form where your body becomes a constellation. One of the first abilities is the archer. You have a constellation of an archer, and your bonus action now becomes a ranged attack, dealing, I believe, force damage. The chalice, anytime you heal somebody, you or somebody within a certain range gets additional healing. And the dragon, which supports you if you roll low on a constitution check to maintain a spell, you instead are considered to have rolled 10. So if you roll 9 or less, you rolled a 10. At higher levels, the dragon form allows you to also fly around. The chalice has a larger healing area, and the archer deals more damage.
Okay.
Now, all that tied on top of anything else, I was hoping to find like optional rules for like the ritual feats, so that way you could do the rituals for ceremony, you could do the rituals for blessing of water, things like that. So you wouldn't be the druid, you'd be the cleric. If you have any ideas to toss into that, I'd be happy to hear them.
So mechanically, what would that look like?
Mechanically, what it would look like is you wouldn't have a whole lot that you could do offensively until you absolutely have to throw down, because you can't just channel positive energy and heal, and everyone expects the cleric to heal all the time. But in this case, you are more of a utility caster, the Swiss Army knife, but you'd have very specific modes that you have to go into. when you're dealing with the Archer constellation, you're throwing down spells like Vine Whip, but you'd have to thematically change it to be like Apollo's Lash or things like that. So it's a lot of reskinning things, but when you're in Archer mode, you're attack, you're positioning people, you're moving things. When you're in Chalice mode, you have to stick to your healing spells because that's where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck.
Okay. So is your question?
I'm wanting your opinion on the idea, if it's feasible.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, reflavoring is the easy part. It's trying to make it fit mechanically. I mean, if you just want, if like reflavoring is where we start and stop, you're golden. I'm all for it. But if you want more mechanical, I was going to say, or I was going to suggest more forms. There's got to be. I haven't seen anything on this, but I've always thought that surely there are more more constellations on like DM's Guild. Maybe if you're willing to homebrew, there's got to be more constellations to choose from. I'm sure people have developed more. That would be like, there should be more constellations. I think like, just like Warlock patrons and invocations, I think constellations would be a really good thing to expand on if you're willing to homebrew. Otherwise, I would look to feats to kind of supplement that. There's not anything that's going to give you channel divinity, but you can get close.
I wonder if there's any magic items that kind of simulate that ability.
Oh yeah, homebrew magic items. You can do anything with that. I love, so whenever I'm running players and there is a class that is not represented, but if I'm running a player that is trying to, I'll usually do this when somebody starts trying to multi-class. I'll usually ask them like, why are you multi-classing? Because I could just make a magic item to give you like, what you're looking for. Like you don't need to dip into sorcerer to get fog cloud. If you want like a smoke bomb, just tell me, we can work something out. Kind of thing. So yeah, magic items are a great way to supplement character ideas if you've got it.
No, if I were to multi-class, would you have a suggestion? Because part of me was like thinking going paladin since it's all modes.
I wouldn't. Honestly, I wouldn't multi-class. I can't think of anything mechanically from another class that would benefit that except the obvious cleric. Paladin, I guess, works too. Auras would be auras would be wonderful if you're willing to go that far into Paladin.
Mm-hmm. That's an idea. All right. Ready for the DM issue?
All right. Yeah, hit me.
I have a group of individuals who are consummate role players, and I specialize in horror and fear tactics. But the campaign setting is more Mad Max meets Harry Potter. It's pretty much based on the Arcane Savant books, which it's because it's Mad Max and there is magic. Humanity's like these small, compact cities, but Fae are basically, this is ours now. Congratulations, you lost it. Have a nice day. And we had one of the players talk, one of the people who normally spectate our games, because it's part of a role play community. We've done Arc, we've done Conan Exiles for years now.
Mm-hmm.
And we set it up so that way he could be hooked in with the plot line, because the group's been cutting their teeth up to level 9 now on dealing with the Fae, dealing with politics of having so many people in a tight city, kind of Warhammer 40k, kind of Hive City-ish situation.
Huh.
And they went way far north, which wasn't touched by the war that caused everything to be Harry Potter, Mad Max style. So one of the things to introduce the lost land of the South, because there's this big dividing line due to a cataclysm, the outsiders, illithids, beholders, things like that, are trying to get a foothold in the north. So what they've done is I took the idea of how the Tarrasque tends to sleep for so long and then wake up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm using the idea that a creature that big doesn't stay awake for very long. So a long time ago, these corrupt officials started cultivating a false hydra. And they just kept throwing people into it that they wanted to go away. Inconvenient members of society, so to speak. So eventually it got so big that it can't be conscious. It's just too large. It's in a coma. So the big bad of the current game are lycanthropes, because in this particular world, one lycanthrope is a plague because it just takes a single bite. NPCs don't save versus lycanthropy, only players do, kind of situation. So what they've been doing since they lost the last war, which caused the cataclysm, is they've been utilizing the false hydra that's unconscious under a city to get rid of people. So one of the player characters, this new guy, who we've been working for a month and a half to get him in the story, effectively got tossed in, but he is a blood hunter, Order of the Wolf. So on autopilot, when they tossed him in the mouth, he climbed up into the nasal cavity and has been surviving. So the whole group is fighting, going through the city, doing things. We've been going for a month and a half to get to this guy, and he's been spectating the whole time. And at the very end, when they go through a tower that was used to pierce into the false hydra, they go through the organs. I've got a map of all the organs, and they're fighting oozes and things. They get up to him, and at that point, there's like 15 minutes in the game, and we normally run for 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
And at the last 15 minutes, where all he had to do was 15 minutes of improvised roleplay, he said, "I'm not ready, I'm out," and started getting angry when people were like, "Just come on, man, just play a little bit. Let's go. We can do this. It'll be a good introduction." And he kept getting more and more angry, so I ended it there. So what I'm having trouble with is, since he's flaked out entirely, one of the things that happen to people who die, especially in the far north, if they're tribal, they become ancestors, because the north is ancestor worship. I feel like I'm copping out on the players because they fought so long and hard that since he flaked out, his body's there and he's just standing there as an ancestor, lost of all his memories, because nobody ever talks about what happens to the people who survive being eaten by a false hydra. So my thought is, a lot of his memories were lost.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm copping out on the players who are remaining because he's just an ancestor standing there with no memories. They're getting the consolation prize of an obese baby griffin, but I feel like I'm copping out on him, and I don't
Okay.
know if I'm doing the right thing.
What do you want them to have from it?
A sense of accomplishment, a sense that their time wasn't wasted, and a sense of, I want them to feel like, okay, this is the first hurdle in killing this giant city-spanning monster we're inside of.
Okay. What? Okay, so we've got our massive false hydra. So what, with that player being there, what would have happened? You would have they would have saved him, and then how would that have facilitated the killing of this massive thing, of this false hydra?
My hope was is that what I was going to give him, if he was still there with us, is that there are a group of super soldiers, so to speak, the exterminatus, basically. And there's a couple of those soldiers still in the gut that he originally had came with before the players even knew that he existed, as far as the story goes. I was hoping to use him in order to have those mind wipe soldiers in the gut help them out, because the big bad nasty isn't the false hydra, it's just the battlegrounds. There's a Banaloth in the gut with its reality altering abilities that they were hoping to utilize to bring more monsters from the outside to this world, and it's the thing that they're in there to fight.
It sounds like that the information that you just told me could make for some good. I don't know if it's too early, but it sounds like what you just told me would be a great reward for like finding out. It's hard to really bridge that character's death and that player leaving. It's hard to bridge that with that reveal, but it sounds like you don't have any problems with the writing and the world building aspect. So bridging that gap shouldn't be too bad. Finding that information, I think, would be a great reward. They already got the Griffin. They know out of character that they lost that player, so that's something else. You could always move those responsibilities move whatever responsibilities that player had onto another player. Kind of put them at the center of the plot. Pick somebody. And one more thing, have you ever heard of Dark Sun? Because it sounds very similar to what you described.
I've heard of Dark Sun, but I was always told, don't do it, stay away. It's the devil.
It is very. When you said Mad Max Harry Potter, I got Dark Sun vibes, and then you mentioned Mind Flayers and False Hydra and your horror aspect. It's very more psionic based. Dark Sun's a more psionic based magic. It's post-apocalyptic, psionic D&D. I guess would be the best way to describe it. I would look into it. I kind of got those vibes when you described the world.
I never thought to look into that.
Absolutely, I think you might enjoy it. It's just a campaign setting. They haven't moved it to 5th edition yet. I think that they're holding off on that because it does deal with slavery pretty heavily, but I don't know that would be the issue or the reason that they don't. A lot of people are asking for Dark Sun, so I expect them to bring it in one of these days. Back to the issue that you brought up. Does that help? Like maybe the reveal, the Griffin, and then moving the focal point to another player?
It does. I kind of wanted to tie up the loose end, but giving it to another player would also be a good way to change the focus. And,
yeah.
And actually giving it to a person doesn't feel like a cop out.
Right. Yeah. Passing the torch would definitely feel more like an evolving story rather than, I guess we have to just work with this.
Yeah. So thank you, sir. I appreciate the idea. I'm going to use it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely check out Dark Sun. You might. All right. Take it easy, bud. Thank you.
Yep.
Dark Sun is Conan with the Stone Age within the Stone Age. I want to play Dark Sun. Giving your party a chance to gain something out of it. Absolutely. Yeah, knowledge is a pretty good reward. Out of curiosity, did you do a creature feature on Marbles? No, I have not. Talking about from Final Fantasy? All right. I feel like maybe we've got one more in me. Dunkus, sir. Absolutely. Take it easy. Also, that microphone. Chat. All right, chat. Y'all got to tell me, was his microphone better than mine? Because he was using a USB mic, and I'm using a freaking XLR. But his audio quality sounded pristine. Get a little mic envy. The SMB is a USB mic, isn't it? His audio. It might just be his voice. Was good, well balanced. Yeah. Using an SMB mic, matching my hard lines into an audio box. Okay. All right. So you do have I've got a preamp. Yes, way better. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right. Way better. I don't know about that. I'm using a preamp. I'm guessing it. I'm guessing the voice. I'm guessing he just has a pleasing voice. Way better. Get out of here. Imagine we'll be finishing TOA soon, so not long left. Whoa, is that Steely from the shorts? Sure is, big old PP. Like you haven't been here. Just a tad. I narrate them audiobooks. Imagine what to do my players on Roll20. I want to know how you get that audio quality with the freaking USB. I'm using an XLR. I'm using an XLR. Y'all want to see my setup? You can't. You're not gonna be able to, actually. You won't be able to see it from here. I've got this mic hooked up to this preamp, hooked up to this voice transformer. All right. And I'm getting outpaced by a USB mic. Sadness. I might have to invest in a SMB. In the Discord server, currently hoping to receive some guidance on the first DMing and maybe bounce some story mechanic ideas. I'm going to do one more person. I'm going to grab Higgis. Sleepy Gaunt. Why the voice transformer? The preamp doesn't have an EQ. I use the voice transformer for NPC voices specifically. So like, I can do my dragon. You know, just got different voices.
Fan creatures.
So that's what the voice transformers were. Just NPC voices. See my Vault Boy? Yeah, I got the bobblehead. All right, Higgis, let's do this. Dungeon Master Hotline, how can I help you?
Hey Sam, how you doing?
Hey.
So I need some DMing advice. I've got a long-running campaign. We've kind of moved from smaller scale into I guess, a larger portion of the world. The players just stole an airship, so they've got lots of freedom to move around. And they've been, well, they specifically asked for more options, more freedom to do multiple different things. And now that I've granted it to them, now they're kind of complaining that, oh, now we don't feel like we can do all the things you've given to us, right? Like, they've got a side quest here, they got a quest here, they want to go kill this person over here. Is there a way to kind of make it so that they don't feel so stressed by the time limits that are in place to possibly get some things done?
Maybe don't put time limits would be a good way to give them the freedom to do it. Because if you give them the freedom to do all the things that they want to do, and then you apply time limits, you kind of take away the freedom of doing everything they want to do.
That's true. I guess the issue that I put in is I kind of put myself in the hole of is people are moving around, people are doing things, so it's like they know that, like, say for example, they want to go to the elemental plane of Earth to gather a rare resource, but there's this guy that they want to assassinate who's currently moving, and they've got to get both of them done within a week. So they're like, they can do it, they're just not sure if they can. Is there any advice for kind of, how do I say, adjusting these scenarios, maybe how I can remove those time limits even though they're kind of been implied to be in place?
Give me specifics. How have you implied the what are the time limits and how did you imply them?
So basically there's a person of import who's moving across the Sword Coast. He refuses to use teleportation travel because of an incident he had earlier in his life, so he's being moved by convoy on land. At the same time, they're being hunted by the BBEG, so they're trying to gather a rare material for this wizard who's going to make them in protection against scrying, which they need to get from the elemental plane of Earth. So, and there's also another person that they're pursuing who's continuing to move across the country, and they're almost at their destination that they've scryed on. So it's like one person's moving one place, another person's moving another place, but at the same time they're running away. So it's, I guess, is how can I untangle myself from the mess of a million options that I've given them?
All right, recap. The party can't teleport.
Not at the moment, no. The player who could teleport, because they are at that level, they're in tier 3 play right now, had to bow out of the campaign temporarily.
Okay.
But they do have access to an airship, so they can move faster than anybody else. And airships are kind of a new thing in this universe, so they're, for the time being, the fastest things in the sky, less dragons.
So what is the time constraint on so they scried, they needed the material from the elemental plane for the wizard. What is the time constraint other than things are just moving?
I guess that's really it. It's just that things are moving. The person of import that they want to assassinate is he's basically has very important information that they don't want to reach a certain person. So there's the time constraint there.
Okay, so stopping him before he reaches said person. You could say, all right, so to untangle your time constraint there, you could say that person while they're moving so that's their assassination target, right?
Correct.
All right, here we go. I got an idea. An assassination attempt happens and fails before their assassination target, somebody else tries before they get there, and it derails everything, causing them to have to go the long way, quote unquote, and the party has to come up with like a way to work around their defenses now that they're on edge. How's that?
Oh, that actually might work. Actually, that makes sense. The answer is right there. There's a rebel group between where they're going and where they're coming from. They just need to divert sideways. That kind of fixes that one. But for things coming up in the future, to make sure that they still have options, I guess. How do I make sure I don't get myself into this situation again? I guess repeating that mistake again, where it's like the whole living world thing. You kind of want to keep things moving. You kind of want to make sure everything's believable, but at the same time, you don't want your players to miss stuff.
Yeah, so I think the best way to do it, I mean, it's okay to have things that are, how do I put this? The best way to keep a world evolving but staying the same is to just switch out. So you've heard the phrase like history repeats itself. Just change the names of the NPCs over time is really what it comes down to. Like if you look at the history, especially in a fantasy setting where magic kind of replaces technology, everything that happens can just happen over and over again with different names. So maybe this king does this thing that everybody hates. So there's an uprising causing another king to take over, and then they start this new revolution, and then eventually that person becomes the king that everybody hates, and there's a revolution. It just keeps happening. That's one way to keep things, is to build a cycle, and then all you have to do is determine where in the cycle the party interacts. Build a circle for every location.
The strategy of the moving castle, the castle's to the left, party goes right. Oh, the castle's on the right now.
There you go. Yeah, that too.
Instead. All right, I think I understand now. And I guess just a quick small one. Any quick tips you got for me for dealing with writer's block? After about a year and a half, almost 2 years at this point, sometimes it's really hard to come up with something interesting, new, enjoyable. Anything that you do for yourself to just kind of get yourself out of a rut?
Writer's block. Let's see. Advice for getting out of writer's block. That is a tough one. I think the key to like the creative process is to make sure that your mind is free from, how do I describe this? So if you're actively trying to create something unique, it's going to be a lot harder than just waiting for something unique to pop in your head. Does that make sense? Like if I were to tell you right now, design an epic campaign, or design an epic session, or an epic adventure, it's going to be a lot harder than just, hey, write something that you enjoy. Does that make sense? Like kind of removing the, I don't got it today. Removing the stress of needing to get something done, I think, is a great way to create an environment for creativity. I think creativity thrives when there's no deadline. And
no weight on their shoulders, no stress, just letting the ideas flow naturally rather than being like, I need to make something, I need to make it new, I need to make it interesting. It's like, just let it come out, just let it flow, I guess.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of like I'm trying to think of a time where I've had writer's block, and like when I think about it, it's like I've never actually like sat down and tried to write something like that. I usually just, whatever pops up, I'll write it down. Another thing, write stuff down. Like I have a notepad. This may be a little bit excessive on my part. I acknowledge this, but I have a notepad in every room of my house, even the bathroom, with a pen, like everywhere. Like, so if an idea ever pops up in my head, I just write it down. That way I can forget it. And that frees up space in my mind for other stuff, you know? I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy for that.
No, I could easily get my OneNote onto a cloud, which is basically a notepad everywhere I go, and utilize that technique. Yeah, that could help a lot.
Yeah. You don't want, you don't want to, I mean, you don't want to be thinking about, you don't want to try to remember anything ever. Write everything down. Write down your grocery list, write down your to-do list. You don't want to have to actively think about anything. You want everything to flow naturally. That may just be me. That may be a me thing. That may be like my personal thing, but I don't want to have to remember anything. I want to just I want to have a completely clear head. And I think that is good for writer's block.
All right. Yeah, I think that's everything. That actually helped me a lot thinking about it. Thank you, Sam, and love the channel.
Thanks, buddy. You have a good one.
All right. Take care, brother.
All right. That was the last one, chat. That was the last one. I'm sorry, waiting room folks. We're going to be doing this again, so don't you worry. That's very good advice though, Sam. I need to follow that. I always have ideas to write, but always forget them when it's actually time. Dude, I hate losing, I hate forgetting a really good idea. I hate that. That's the worst. That is the absolute worst. Always, I always write, always have a notepad, literally in every room. Can't wait to get my dose of questions in, and thank you for doing this for us. Absolutely, bud. Hey, we'll be doing this again. Maybe I'm gonna need some more content because a lot of you were just like one and done. I can't do 5-minute videos. I'm not gonna get a lot of videos out of this. I'm gonna need more from you. Cell phones have notepad. Write them on your arm. There's always ways to keep the idea. I don't always have my cell phone on me. Sometimes the cell phone's charging. I also like physical paper. I like physical paper. It's just me, you know. But one very important thing is to not have to remember things. When I go to the grocery store, I'm not thinking about. When I'm going to the grocery store, I'm not thinking about what do I need to buy because I already wrote everything down on a list. I'm thinking about literally anything else. I'm thinking about D&D. I'm thinking about D&D, YouTube. I'm thinking about a bunch of other stuff. I'm not thinking about what I need to buy. I'm going to look at the list. Oh, I need milk. Milk's over there. I'm going to go grab that, put it in the basket, and then I'm not thinking about it anymore, you know? When's the next live? When I run out of content here. Maybe Saturday. Maybe Saturday. I'll give you bigger problems to solve. First live stream for me, boss. Loved having you, Adonis, you need to help me set up my mic. I need to... Is the SMB... Hold on, I need to look this up. Is the SMB a USB mic? I just assumed. Because I thought you said the SMB 7? Yeah, I've seen this. No, okay, it is an XLR. Okay, never mind. Yeah, okay, you've got a fancy mic. Never mind. I was wrong. He does have a very fancy mic. Okay. I don't feel as bad now. I was sitting here thinking he had the I was thinking he had the AT 2020. No. Whatever. What's your opinion on components? Components kind of got thrown out the window with Arcane Focus. Man, is it really time? I love my BP40. I love my BP40. It's about 3-4 years old. Is it time to upgrade? Sam, do you play Fallout 76? I haven't played Fallout 76. I played Fallout 3, 4, and New Vegas. BP40's fine. Put a FET head on it. I don't think that it's got one built in. It's got the phone built in the mic. I mean, I'd be overjoyed to pick Sam's brain. I have to roll a new character for tomorrow night. Ever played Divinity 2? Man, of course I've played Divinity 2. Triton Audio Fethead. All right, let's have a look. Yeah, go ahead and send me your freaking list. Go ahead and send me where my next paycheck's going. Inline microphone preamp. What is this? What is this for? Ever play Elden Ring? Lol. For the playstyle of using the right weapon. Did you ever play D&D? I've heard of it. 76 just got a pretty big update. And since it had such a crap launch, you can get it for like $3. Nice. Is it subscription based? Do I need this is the question. Do I need this Fethead? It bucks the sound up. I can turn down everything else. It's how I've cheated the quality. Y'all got me self-conscious now. I feel like my audio quality is like... Hold on, don't mind me. I'm just going to tear apart my video. I'm just going to ruin my video quality. You don't need anything. You're beautiful. Yeah, but I like the audio stuff. Do you have like... Do you speak into the mic a specific way? Like, do you do this? Like I could do this. I could like I could get a lot closer to the mic and talk really low into it. Get that kind of that ASMR vibe. Talk real low. I don't know if this is really, I don't know if I could maintain talking like this for a long period of time. But this could work. Foam pads to stop sounds bouncing. I've got the... Y'all think I'm some kind of amateur over here? Y'all think I'm some kind of amateur over here? Y'all can't see that, can you? Oh, yeah, you kind of can. They're there, all right, believe. Yeah, a little. Sam, that voice is making me question things. I need to change my pants now. Pushing enemies back into AoE all day, every day. It could work, but you make it work. In the back, them bare walls, bare up the baseboard. Bro, those walls are 20 feet behind me. All right. And this microphone is like that far. Come on now. Think I'm some kind of amateur? Fucks up trying to show something. Clip it, Justin. Clip it for the next one. Your walls are 20 feet behind you. Yeah, this room was a garage that got converted. So it's a 20 by 20 room. His mic isn't going to pick up reverb on a room that big. He has a grand setup. Yeah, like the problem is, so I could. I don't know. I'd have to work on it. I think the only audio improvements that I can make at this point would just be like how I talk into the mic. I get excited and I yell at it. You know, I don't know. It's fine. I'll be all right. I just heard Adonis's voice. And I was like, fuck, man, I need that. I need that silk in my ears. Okay, we're done. We got enough content, at least for maybe the rest of the week. Kalia, what's up? You didn't realize I was still live? Haven't seen you in a hot minute. Oh, damn, that makes sense. I thought you got a massive bedroom. No, this was a garage at one time. It got converted. It was converted to a studio. I guess you call it a studio, a man cave. I'm gonna carpet it. It's not carpeted. I'm gonna carpet it one of these days. I use a Plantronics rig 400 for my headset, but my Raider notebook has a stock mic. Stock. Garky says hi and he loves you. Man, where has he been? Man cave's the proper word, yeah. There are starving dads in America without man caves. Blessed. Garden says hi and he loves you. Val, Prism, Garky, I miss y'all. Play some D&D sometime. My boy was so close to becoming Mom's basement. Mom's garage. I live with my puppy. All right, y'all. I'm going to get off here. I'm getting kind of tired. And I need to do some more recording. Got to get that done. We miss you too. The YouTuber, my boy. Oh, wait. Mother's basement. Rest well. Answer, please. What was your question, Eli? Also, did you change your name? Wizard or monk? Depends. Probably wizard. Wizards are cool. We should all play some games. All right, y'all. I will see you maybe Thursday. I've been doing my D&D streams unlisted. All right, listen, if you want... Oh, hell yeah. Adonis sent me his list. Sent me this fortune. I've been doing the D&D... So I'm going to be doing the D&D streams unlisted from now on, and I'm debating on whether or not I want them. I'm going to share the link. Sam got some good games to play. You've got some good games, or are you asking me if I've got some good games? I've got a really good game on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's called D&D. Sleep at least 8 hours helps a ton. I'm gonna get my sleep. All right, I'm out of here. Y'all have a good night. Peace.